Hello children, how are you? Fine? Hope you are enjoying my video class. So today, in continuation with the same topic like process, we are taking up another subtopic, that is respiration in animal. In previous class we have discussed in detail about the respiration in plant. Now, there I told, in plant there is no specific respiratory organ. The respiratory air, oxygen, enters through opening present of the leaf, that is stomata or stem lenticule. But in case of animal, from lower to higher, there are specific organs for this gaseous exchange. This organ, what you call as a respiratory organ. If we make a survey of the respiratory organ from small animals like insect to higher animal, highest level of animal like human being, let us make a survey about. If you look at the respiratory organ of insect is having a respiratory organ what you call as trachea. This trachea, I will show you here separately also. Dorsal and ventral trachea runs parallel with each other throughout its body, and this trachea is having a small opening called spiracle through which the respiratory gases, oxygen, enter inside the trachea. If I show a separate trachea through another clipping, you can see in this clipping. Here, this is a trachea. Trachea further divides into fine branches. These are called tracheole. So these are the tracheole, reaching to the different tissues of the insect, including your very common insect, what you find in your house is cockroach. And this trachea opens outside through external opening. This opening called, if I circle here, this opening called spiracle. Through this spiracle, the respiratory air opens into the long tubular structure called trachea. Trachea now divides into fine branches and ultimately more fine branches before reaching to the cell. These fine branches are called as tracheole, which is carrying the respiratory air. Now let us proceed to little higher animal. Say for example, in case of fish, almost all of you are very familiar. This red color part, what do you call it as? It is called as gill. Gill is the respiratory organ of fish, aquatic animal. Fish is an aquatic animal, reside in water body, either in fresh water or in salty water, marine water. The gill is covered by a structure. Almost, if I draw the gill of fish like this, only the gill part, if you see here, this is the gill having comb-like structure, supported by blood vessels, and this gill is covered by a hard bony cover. This bony cover is called operculum. It's a covering. Here the operculum has been removed to show you the gill. Now if I show you the exact individual parts of the gill through my another clipping, you see here the gill has been highly enlarged here. Gill is having the gill arch supported by many This is the gill rag, and the most important part of the gill is this one. Okay, so these feathery, fine, hair-like structure of the gill, which is why it is reddish in color, because it is supported by fine blood capillaries. So what happened? When the fish opens its mouth, as I have shown in my diagram, open its mouth, it take water and it pushes that water by opening the operculum. The operculum is open. Say if I open up this operculum like this covering is like this, operculum, hard bony covering. It has opened up now. Why it is opened up? To push the water outside. Now the water is coming outside. While water is coming outside, it is washing away the gills. While water is washing away the gills, the oxygen present in water diffuse inside the blood vessels. The red color you see in the gill, the red color part which is supported by the fine blood capillary. So oxygen diffuse inside the blood capillary and carbon dioxide present in the gill, which are now diffused out. CO2, carbon dioxide is diffused out from the gill to the washed away water. In that way, the fish is taking their respiratory air and expelling their carbon dioxide containing air. Now, the whole mechanism we shall discuss when we shall go to the human respiration. Let me show you the human respiratory organ. In case of human being, we have respiratory organ, a pair of lungs present within the chest cavity. This is the chest cavity where a pair of, this is one, this is left, right lung, a pair of lung. This lung, two lung present within the chest cavity. Within the chest cavity, let me draw a very simplified diagram. Now, if I rub this part little above, here we have the nostril, the nostril carrying the air, through which the air containing oxygen enters, and through the nasal passage it enters to the nasopharynx, from where it comes to the larynx. These are part of the larynx, and through which it enters into the larynx slightly. This is now entering to the tubular structure. This tubular structure is covered by cartilage, hoppering like structure. This cartilage, why it is covered by cartilage? This cartilage helps to prevent, when there is no air, this pipe might collapse. In order to prevent that, it is supported by the cartilage. It is supported by the cartilage. Now, this pipe is called commonly windpipe or trachea. This trachea enters into chest cavity, divides into two bronchus, and further they divide to form many fine tubular structure. Many fine tubular structure. Very simplified diagram for your easy understanding. Both this fine tubular structure these are called bronchiole. So, nasal opening, otherwise called external nail or external labial aperture, enter into the nasal passage, where from it is coming to the larynx, through which the air enters to a tubular pipe called trachea, encircled by half ring-like structure called cartilage. Now the trachea, when enters to chest cavity, divides into two parts called bronchus. Bronchus further divides into fine tubular structure called bronchiole. Now, each such bronchus, if you see the diagram also, here each such bronchus is supported by a structure, each such bronchus along with the entire bronchiole now covering the entire bronchiole. If I rub this part, two big bag-like structure. These are having compartment 1, 2, 3, bigger compartment. Here you can see this 1, 2, 3. Okay, and a small one, partial. So this structure, what we call as lung, and the lung is having many small balloon-like, millions of small balloon-like structure. This small balloon-like structure, clusters of such structure, these are the alveoli, sac-like structure, small, called alveoli. So I hope you could got a concept about the structure of the lung, the trachea, larynx. So from the nasal opening, external air, the oxygen containing air entering to the larynx, through larynx to the windpipe trachea, from trachea to bronchus, bronchus to bronchiole, ultimately reaching to the sac-like structure called alveoli. Where the air is reaching now? Alveoli. Alveoli present within the lung. Lung is covered by a membrane. If I draw it with some other color chalk, lung is covered by a membrane. This membrane is called pleura. This membrane is called pleura. So this lung also, this is called pleura. This is called pleura. So this membrane is called pleura. Pleura. Now, both the lungs present within a cavity called chest cavity. So let me draw again the chest cavity in an enlarged form. So this is the chest cavity. This is the chest cavity. So as to create some space, this is the chest cavity and the pleura. A little less. And this chest cavity, or otherwise called thoracic cavity, is having a dome separation from this is the abdomen. This is the abdominal part. Abdomen. This region is called thorax. So where does the two lungs reside? Within the thoracic cavity. Now this thoracic cavity supported at both the sides with ribs, 12 pair in number, the ribs from here to here, just above the abdomen, the ribs. Here is the sternum, and at the back the ribs are joined with vertebral column. So in that way, the ribs in front joining with the sternum, a hard bony plate, and at the back another bony structure called vertebral column or vertebrae. So the ribs form a cage, what we call as thoracic cage. Within the thoracic cage, the two lungs reside. Of course, along with heart, we are not going to discuss about heart. Now, the whole part of human respiration, in order to understand, we shall have to first understand the mechanism of breathing. Mechanism of breathing. The mechanism of breathing is having two parts. The breathing is having two parts. One is inspiration, and the other is expiration. So during inspiration, the oxygen containing air will enter. This is the route through which it is entering. From trachea, it is going to the bronchus to bronchiole, and then reaching to the alveoli. So route again I tell you, through the nasal opening, external nail, through the nasal passage, through the larynx, through the trachea to bronchus to bronchiole, and from here it reaches to the alveoli. Is that clear? And during the process of inspiration, during the process of expiration, the back route, the carbon dioxide so carried, stored in the alveoli, enters from here to bronchiole, to bronchus, bronchus to trachea, trachea to larynx to internal layers. It's coming. So that process is called expiration. Now question is, how does this happen? What is the mechanism? Little brief, we shall discuss about the mechanism. During inspiration, if somehow the volume of the chest cavity increases, say, see, look at me. My volume of chest cavity I am trying to increase. Now reduce. Chest cavity I want to reduce. Once again. Expansion of chest cavity. Next, reduction of chest cavity. So during expansion of chest cavity, what happened? How it expand? It is the muscles called intercostal muscle connecting between the ribs. In between the ribs is simply both the sides. These are the ribs. I am not drawing the all ribs, only so the ribs are connected with the intercostal muscle. The ribs are connected in between the two ribs. The muscle is there called intercostal muscle. It is the intercostal muscle which contracts. As a result of intercostal muscle. As a result of contraction of the intercostal muscle, the ribs move forward and at the side also. How? Once again. See my position, how it is increasing. Due to contraction of intercostal muscle. At the same time, the diaphragm, which was earlier inverted dome shape, not inverted, earlier in normal position which is dome shape, now it became flat. How? Like this. So, this side, if I rub and little during expansion, due to expansion of chest cavity, now the chest cavity become like this, enlarged. This side also the chest cavity, earlier it was like this, now this side also the chest cavity expand. This is the diaphragm. So as a result, the whole size of the chest cavity now became like this. You can see the increasement of chest cavity. The pleura, which is tightly attached with the chest cavity, due to expansion of chest cavity, the pleura also expand, which is stretching the inner membrane of lung. So as a result, the lung expand. And when the lung expand, the volume within the lung, because of increasement of volume in the lung increases. And when the volume increases, the pressure within the lung falls. As a result, there is a creation of vacuum within the lung. To fill the vacuum, so as the volume increases, the pressure of air within the lung is less in comparison to the pressure of air outside. Outside pressure is more, inside the lung, the air pressure is less. As a result, air moves from outside through this passage into the lung and reaches to the alveoli. This air contains oxygen. Now, this oxygen, the alveoli of lung is supported by fine tubular structure of blood vessels called blood capillaries. These blood capillaries, which are having blood more amount of carbon dioxide. The capillary of blood contain more amount of carbon dioxide, but within the lung, as the oxygen entered, more amount of oxygen. So, by means of a simple process called diffusion, the oxygen from alveoli will enter to the capillary blood and carbon dioxide. So, oxygen, if I write this part, so the oxygen from alveoli of lung will enter to the capillary where oxygen amount in the blood is less, and carbon dioxide from capillary of blood will enter to the alveoli by simple process of diffusion. Now these capillary are joined to form a new blood vessel called, during circulation we shall discuss in detail, this blood vessel which was carrying the carbon dioxide containing blood called pulmonary artery, PA, and now this blood vessel which are carrying more oxygen containing blood, this is the pulmonary vein, PV. So pulmonary vein now having blood with more concentration of oxygen. Now the pulmonary blood vessels carrying blood to the heart, that we shall discuss in transportation or the circulation chapter, circulation portion. But for the time we try to understand this oxygen containing blood reaching to the heart, that is left auricle, from here to left ventricle, and from here the oxygen containing blood carrying the oxygen to the different cells or tissues. Suppose this is a cell. Now, how the oxygen is carried to such a long distance? It is the blood having a pigment called hemoglobin. It is this hemoglobin which, having binding site, it will bind with oxygen and carry or transport this oxygen. In that way, it will be carried to the heart, which chamber, that is left auricle, from left auricle to left ventricle. Left ventricle will release the blood to aorta. Aorta will divide to fine arteries and it will carry the blood by means of arteriole to the cells or tissues. In the cell or tissue, suppose this the arteriole is carrying the blood. Now, in the cell or tissue, by means of respiration, cellular respiration, produce the amount of carbon dioxide is produced. Here, the amount of oxygen within the blood of the arteriole, that is fine capillary, is more. So, oxygen is reaching to the cell for cellular respiration, and carbon dioxide from cell by means of diffusion enters to the blood vessels containing blood. Now, how the carbon dioxide will be carried? The carbon dioxide, a part of carbon dioxide will be combined with the same blood pigment, hemoglobin, in the form of carbaminohemoglobin. What is it called? Carbaminohemoglobin. Carbon dioxide is carried, and oxygen is carried in the form of oxygen, oxyhemoglobin. Is that clear to you? So oxygen is carried in the form of oxyhemoglobin by the blood pigment, hemoglobin, and carbon dioxide is carried in the form of carbaminohemoglobin. A part of carbon dioxide also carried by the plasma. this carbon dioxide containing blood again by the same process will be carried by the blood vessels called pulmonary artery to the fine capillaries, and here in the lung it will be exchanged. When the carbon dioxide is coming to lung, it is filling the alveoli. Now what happened? The intercostal muscle, which was earlier expanded form, see, expanded form, now it will relax. As a result of relaxation, the ribs and sternum now coming back to its original position. Ribs and sternum now coming back to its original position. When they are coming back to original position, they are decreasing the chest cavity. They are decreasing the chest cavity. And the diaphragm is also coming back to its original position. This is the diaphragm. So as a result, the ribs and sternums, especially the ribs are articulated with, supported with the sternum. The ribs are coming back to its original position because of the relaxation of the muscles. And the diaphragm is also coming back to its original position. So as a result, the chest cavity decreased. When the chest cavity decreased, if you press a balloon by opening its mouth part, keeping its mouth part open, if you press a balloon, what will happen? The air will come back. Like that, when the chest cavity reduces in shape, it gives a pressure over the two lungs. As a result, in the reverse route, what is the reverse route? This from bronchiole to bronchus, bronchus to trachea, trachea to larynx, the same route, external layer, the carbon dioxide containing air is going out. Is that clear to you? I will show you the clipping through which you can also see the whole process as I have explained, how the lung is, how the chest cavity or rib cage is in increased form and how it is reduced. So let me go through the clipping. You see here in this figure, this is the normal position of chest cavity. This is the chest cavity. This part is the diaphragm. These are the ribs. So the normal position, when the intercostal, this is connecting muscle between the ribs. These are the muscle between the ribs. This is the rib. So the muscle when contracts, the chest cavity increases. See the new position of the chest figure, not in the structure, the new position, present position. So the chest cavity earlier it was here, now it has increased. And the diaphragm which was earlier here, it will now, it has not given the right position, it will come back to this. As a result, overall there is an increase in the chest cavity or thoracic cavity. The pleura is also expanding along with the chest cavity. The pleura is tightly attached with the inner, the outer wall of the lung, so the lung is also stretched. As a result, the pressure falls in the lung. So the air enters, oxygen enters. And when the intercostal muscles relaxes, again the ribs are coming to its original position. The diaphragm going back to its original position. As a result, there is a reduction, overall reduction of the chest cavity, which gives a pressure over the two lung, and air, that is carbon dioxide now, which present in the lung, goes in the back route outside the body. This is about the mechanism. Now, once the oxygen is reaching to the cell, here the cellular oxidation, cellular respiration takes place, which I have discussed in my previous lesson. What is the process of cellular respiration? And by virtue of the cellular respiration, the carbon dioxide is produced, again it will come back in this way. Now, if you make a recapitulation, I told you that irrespective of plant and animal cell, the part of respiration took place in cytoplasm of a cell and the remaining part within the mitochondria. So this glucose within the cell cytoplasm breaks to form a 3-carbon compound called pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid. If I draw the structure or say pyruvic acid, this is the pyruvic acid. So glucose or simple substrate food, which is substrate on which will break down and oxidize further to release energy. This glucose first breaks to form a 3-carbon compound. It is a 6-carbon compound. Now it is a 3-carbon compound. C1, 2, 3, CH. If I rub this part now, so what is it? How many 3? C3. C3. How many hydrogen? 3, 4, H4. How many oxygen? 1 to 3. So see here the diagram, the structural composition. Carbon having 4 hands, 3 hands are occupied by the 3 hydrogen, and this is another hand. The hands are nothing but the valence electron. You are reading in your chemistry part. Then this carbon is also having 4 valence electron, 2 with oxygen, to this and this. If you make a further separation of this, so you can draw in that way. So this is the pyruvic acid. Up to this, the breakdown of glucose to pyruvic acid is taking place within the cell cytoplasm. Phase-wise conversion takes place. This we used to study in 11th standard. Not here, there is no such scope. But in previous class also I told you, glucose getting converted into glucose 6-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate by means of isomerization reaction, fructose 6-phosphate, then getting converted to by means of phosphorylation to fructose 1,6-diphosphate, then it is getting converted into dihydroxyacetyl phosphate and glycerol 3-phosphate, and so many other intermediate steps are there, phosphoenol pyruvic acid, and ultimately it forms a 3-carbon pyruvic acid. This is the pyruvic acid. Is that clear? Now, further oxidation of pyruvic acid depends upon the availability of oxygen. If oxygen is completely or fully available, then this pyruvic acid, that is it will further in presence of oxygen. This pyruvic acid will further completely oxidize to form carbon dioxide plus water and energy in the form of ATP. The amount of energy released here is much more in comparison to the amount of energy released in other 2 processes. Other 2 processes means, say suppose there is no oxygen, then what will happen? Then this pyruvic acid is the intermediate which will undergo the cellular respiration, will break down to form plus carbon dioxide plus energy. directly the glucose will getting converted into what we call as 2 carbon compound ethanol or ethyl alcohol. It is called as alcoholic fermentation or otherwise called fermentation. This process generally takes place in case of unicellular fungus like yeast. Another mode is there where there is oxygen, but the amount of oxygen is very, very less. Less amount of oxygen. Is that clear to you? In such a insufficient, so this is due to lack of oxygen. In absence of oxygen and less supply of oxygen or lack of oxygen, then the glucose, which will be converted into pyruvic acid, ultimately the pyruvic acid converts to another 3 carbon compound, that is C3H6O3, called lactic acid. Lactic acid. So if I draw the structural configuration, that is C, so how many oxygen? 3. Okay, so COH, H, so 3H here, then 4, oxygen is 3, and here. So C3H6O3, that means how many carbon? 1, 2, 3, 6 hydrogen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and oxygen 3. Oxygen 1, 2, 3. If you need not go for all detail of this structure, you remember a 3 carbon compound lactic acid and energy. These are the end product. In case of the respiration, cellular respiration. With this, I have completed your animal respiration. One more clipping I will show you here how the transport of gases taking place, how the gaseous exchange taking place. We are showing the gaseous exchange between alveoli and capillary. This is the alveoli, this is a capillary blood having blood pigment called hemoglobin. Now the oxygen is by means of diffusion entering to the hemoglobin, the capillary blood contains hemoglobin, so it combines with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin, and carbon dioxide present within the blood combined with oxygen in the form, combined with hemoglobin in the form of carbaminohemoglobin, now diffused to the alveoli and then going back. So this is what I have shown you, how the gaseous exchange taking place within the alveoli. This is another clipping where the trachea divided into two bronchus to bronchiole, bronchiole to the other terminal bronchiole, one bronchiole receiving two individual balloon-like sac called alveoli. So I hope I have given you, or I have tried to given you a very, very clear concept. I hope after my class there will be no difficulty with respect of the animal respiration, including the mechanism of breathing and entry of or gaseous exchange within the alveoli. So with this, thank you. Next, we are meeting in the next class. Thank you.